You're watching News Today. Teacher trainees at the Bagabaga College of Education and the Tamale College of Education are appealing to government to, as a matter of urgency, find solution to the strike by their teachers so they can return to the classroom. A visit by Joynews to the two teacher training colleges Monday morning saw empty lecture halls with some students studying on their own. Some of the students who spoke to Joynews said the strike by their lecturers mean they will not be able to write their end of semester exams due next week.
You're listening to them since last month when they went for the strike, and up to now they are also saying that if the government did not listen to them, they will not come back to class. And it's very, very bad. It's affecting we the students. As the student body, it's affecting us a lot.
Because we pay our feeding fee for 16 weeks. And they have to add more weeks to the number of.
Prince Obdinhima is National Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. He's joined me over the telephone. Hello, Prince. Hello, Prince.
Hello?
Why are you striking?
If I can hear you, are you asking why we are on strike?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we are on strike because we feel cheated and slighted by the Ministry of Education.
How do you mean?
What we mean is that the colleges of education from 2004 have been functioning as special institutions, and the members of CETAC have been doing that work by producing diplomas since 2004. And it is sad to say that the necessary documentations that are supposed to be put together by the statute school, the Ministry of Education, the NCT, and the people, they've still not been able to do that. Now we are doing tertiary work and we are receiving a GSP. Where does this thing happen? So we wrote to them on the 11th of November, expressing our displeasure at the seemingly slow pace at which they were working to put together all these documentations. And the 11th, we wrote to them with no half response. We wrote again to the ministry on the 20th of December, reminding them of the earlier correspondence. We still had no response. And we had no option than to write to them officially on the 3rd, declaring our intention to embark on indefinite strike action tomorrow, that was yesterday, 20th, when we believe by then 2 weeks would have elapsed and would have fulfilled the labor law obligation. So that's the situation we find ourselves in.
Have you had any response since your sort of strike?
Yeah, we wrote to them and we raised two key issues. We gave them two options to adopt one. We say that since our membership, majority of them keep going on retirement every now and then. We've been doing this work since 2004 and they go home with nothing to show. So give us 70% of our current gross salary as cushioning, so that anytime you finish with the salary arrangements and wherever you place us, then you take out that of the 70% you might have given us, so that those who have to go home would have something to benefit from for having done this tertiary work all this while. That was one of the options. Another option was that the Ministry of Education was supposed to have signed MOU with CETAC, tying ourselves to the agreement that, look, anytime the 10 is implemented, it goes 2014, 2016, 2020. But anytime the 10 is implemented, it will take the retrospective effect from 2012 when the bill was passed. That is Act 847, Colleges of Education Act. That's when it was passed. These are the two options we put across, and we have not had any official response from them adopting one. That's why we find ourselves where we are.
So what has been the response from your employers?
We received on Friday afternoon a letter from the Minister of Education, and regrettably it failed to address the issues we raised. Not even one of the issues was adopted, so we could not hold on to that and say because we had received somehow response or written response from them.
Did the letter suggest any solutions?
Yeah, they explained to us the things they were doing. The same old story they've been telling us since week 12 to finalize arrangements. And those things do not translate into money. Look, my dear sister, all of us based in Ghana, we have to know that people should be paid for the work that they do. Wherever we are, Supposing you get employed and your employer tells you that, look, the papers to finalize your salary scheme is not ready. Keep working for 3-4 years before we pay you what you are supposed to get. In the meantime, let me give you the security man's salary. Would you have taken? These are the questions we should ask the people who are threatening us on air. The solution to this problem does not lie in threat, because CITAC is a resolute, robust association.
You have received some threats on the air? You have?
We have heard people saying we have flouted labor laws and that we should prepare for sanctioning and what have you. We don't see where we have flouted a thing.
I see. But the students, on the other hand, we understand are due for exams next week. And they're crying out that you should come to the classroom and at least see them through the exam. Is that something the CITAC would consider?
Yeah, we have to look at this whole issue dispassionately. The students in there happen to be our own students. We love them. We have our relatives, our wives, and what have you in there. So what will make us make this sharp U-turn and hate the students? People are supposed to do their part to let the students also live comfortably. We are doing up. Those who are not putting together the documentation, they should answer this question. We have done our part. They should also have done their part. They should also do their part. Sorry.
Right. Thank you very much, Prince. Prince Obeng-Hima is National Secretary for CITAC. Now, in the Wa municipality, for instance, about 143 teachers are threatening to lay down their tools should government fail to pay them before the end of January. The names of the affected teachers have for the past 2 months been removed from the government payroll as part of efforts to rid the GES of ghost names. Here's a report from Wa by Rafik Salam.
The affected teachers Monday morning besieged the forecourt of the Wa Municipal Directorate of the Ghana Education Service, after which they sought audience with the Municipal Director of Education, Suleiman Al-Hassan. According to the director, he had worked on their salaries and was surprised the teachers had not been paid. But the aggrieved teachers were not satisfied with his response. They demanded the Municipal Director of Education has a telephone conversation with Wan Inkum, who is the Director of the Integrated Personal Payroll Database, commonly referred to as IPPD, in their presence.
One municipal online with a different line. I'm trying the other line and it was misbehaving. Yes. My teachers are on me. Those whose salaries were embargoed in December. We processed their things and sent over. They said they haven't heard anything. They have been giving messages from controller indicating 0 payments.
Suleiman Al-Hassan, however, insisted their names had been added to IPPD list, but it had to be approved by the Controller and Accountant General's office. The aggrieved teachers later held a press conference on the matter. Suleiman Isahaku is their spokesperson.
I cannot be sitting here reading this press statement and be called a ghost. You go to my school and ask my people whether I teach or we don't teach. Then you call us ghost names. And to take all these names. So we suspect that Mr. Inkum, who had come here sometime last year, one day to do an exercise, that we suspect that this is as a result of the exercise. And we had indications that other regions had been taking 3 days for those same exercises, and or more than that.
They warned that they will lay down their tools if they are not paid by the end of the month.
Let's take off to the Ashanti region, and the Regional Police Command has arrested a man who is said to have raped a woman in Kumasi recently. Also arrested are suspects who were said to have engaged in a robbery syndicate. Let's join Mohammed Nuruddin, who's Joynews' Ashanti regional correspondent, over the telephone. Hello, Nuruddin.
Hello, Kamini.
What more can you tell us about these incidents?
Where four suspects have been arrested by the Ashanti Regional Police Command in connection with the robbing and then raping of a Thailand national on the 14th of January this year at the Duako, a suburb of Kumasi. According to the police, they had an intelligent information that the alleged robbers had gone into hiding at Kenyansi. So the patrol team dispatched to the area and they arrested the 3 of the suspects. One of them is Kweku Sapon, 28, Nana Kwesi Ajimai, he is 22, and Kwame NT, 28, alias Ghost Killer. And the other one who was also arrested is Kojo Kumi, 22, a second-hand clothes seller. And currently they are in police custody for further investigation. You remember these suspects, you remember in our earlier report that there's some suspects, some people robbed some Thailand nationals and then raped one of them. That was on the 14th that we did that report. Police are saying these people are also, they are among those terrorizing the residents in the Kumasi metropolis.
I see. So what happens to these 4 men now?
They are currently at the regional police command. They are currently at the regional police, at the regional police command.
Have charges been preferred against them already? Hello, Nuruddin.
Hello.
I'm
Yes.
asking if the police has leveled its charges against them already.
No, the police haven't told us anything like that yet. They haven't done it yet. They are saying
I see.
They are still investigation into the matter. We were even trying to find out which of them raped the woman, and the police are saying we should leave that to them. They would do their work and then get back to the media. In Kamini, the police are also saying that they have retrieved 1 laptop from them. You know, the Delali National told us they took their laptops and their mobile phone from them. Police are saying they have retrieved 1 laptop from them, an unregistered motorbike, and a laptop bag.
I see.
And a wristwatch. Upon a search in their premises where the suspects were hiding.
And what has those things got to do with the case? Hello, Nuruddin.
Yeah, Kamini.
What exactly have those things got to do with the case?
Yeah. You're asking what exactly...
The things they found and perhaps have confiscated. What have they got to do with the case?
Yeah, because, you know, like I said earlier, the victims told us that they took their Toshiba laptop, digital camera, assorted mobile phones, and all that. So we haven't seen the laptop because the police didn't bring them away. So we are suspecting that the laptop they received could be one of the laptop they took from the victims.
Mohammed, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much. We'll bring you an update on this matter in subsequent reports. We'll stay in the Ashanti region, and a special task force Tuesday morning supervised the relocation of 7 commercial vehicle loading points to ease congestion at the KJTR lorry terminal and other places in the central business district of Kumasi. We spoke earlier to Mohammed Nuruddin, Joynews' Ashanti regional correspondent, and here's a playback.
The exercise started very smoothly, and you know, there has been some kind of cordial reaction between the drivers and then the KMB here. So drivers have moved to where they are supposed they were asked to move, and we can see that there is some kind of free flow of traffic, not as complete. It's some kind of free flow of traffic at the terminal now. But the chairman for the Concerned Transport Union is telling me that there are some states that they would wait till KMB does something before they will move. The movement of vehicles in this particular seminar was very slow. Vehicles could take about more than 10 minutes before they will be able to move in, and at the same time before they will be able to move out of the seminar. So this exercise is purposely done because the seminar was created for passes of vehicles within the Kumasi metropolis. It wasn't meant for vehicles traveling outside the Kumasi metropolis. So the chairman told me that they have had that idea, or they've been told that the seminar is not meant for the vehicles traveling outside the Kumasi metropolis. So they were in agreement with KME when they brought to the kitchen. So but he insists that the three stations, that is Papua, Enchi, and Asankapa, will still remain at the seminar before KME would be able to move those things. You see, the issue is that we have the same station at Bantima and at Tapo. And now, if you are going to Abinchi, you have to pass Asako. And they are saying it will be very difficult for someone to pass Asako and then go to Abinchi and take Enchi or Takwa car. So what we are expecting the KMA to do now is to move those cars, the Asankaba, Takwa, and Enchi cars, vehicles from Asako and then Bantima to either Abinchi or Swami before those vehicles at the Pregatia terminal will also move. Because if they move now, it will affect them. Nobody will move. Nobody will go to Abinchi to board a car when there are cars at Asako and Bantima, which
Education and access to good roads top the list of priorities for the chiefs and people of Mamprogo traditional area and the northern region. Now, they tell Joy News they expect other outstanding issues affecting them to be dealt with as soon as possible. The residents made the appeal during a visit by President John Dramani Mahama at the weekend. Here's a report by Gifty Andopia.
Hundreds of town folks and people from its environs thronged to the venue to hear what the president had for them. Most of them school children and nursing trainees. The concentrated crowd in the town's limited space almost caused the schoolgirl to pass out. They all had expectations. Yidana Ramatu and her friend trod from Gambaga to Nalarugu when they heard about the president's visit. With many expectations for him, she singles out teacher trainee allowances which have been scrapped by government.
The allowance of the training college students, I want him to bring it back because it is affecting so many students. So some of the students normally borrow money to go to school, expecting the allowance to come so that they will pay back.
Some of the students walk from many distance to the district level to attend school. So we would like the president to build more schools for the district.
Nursing trainee Amasa Matthew and his colleagues insist on an exam center in Nalarugu and the allowances to be paid in good time.
We are happy to receive him and we are expecting him to address our problems. When you people were coming, you can see our road, and we don't want to be traveling to Tamale to sit for our licensure. So we are begging on him to bring the center here. Yes.
The government should try and give us our alawa. That is what we used to pay our school fees.
Their concerns were mirrored in a list of requests by the Nairi of Mamprogo traditional area, now Bohagu Abdullahi Sheriga.
That the Nalergo Health Assistant Training School has been upgraded to become the Nalergo Nursing and Health Assistance Training College. We, however, appeal to you to provide the school with classrooms facilities that will encourage teaching and learning. Another request, Your Excellency, which is Bentri Nalergo Road, which when constructed will open up the area for farmers to cut their farm produce to the market centers. the District Assembly and the people of Mamprugu have established a community college of education at Gambaga. It is my humble appeal that this college is absorbed to the mainstream. And finally, consider upgrading the Bintri Health Post to a health center status.
They had some answers, but not all their concerns were up for discussion.
I haven't forgotten the Walwale Gambaga Nalergu road. We're going to continue it to Bumpurgu and continue it to Nakwanduri so that it will link up with the Eastern Corridor. We have given accreditation to the Gambaga College of Education, and I have directed the Ministry of Education to absorb it into the government system. We're expecting that this year we'll be able to start work on at least 100 community-day secondary schools. And I'm sure that several of those community-day secondary schools will be sited in the Mamprugu traditional area.
Although they walked away in excitement, they held on to their expectations of better days ahead for their town, where the bad state of roads will cease to affect their farming business and quality education will spread out wide, so that someday they can be at par with any developed community. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Nalerugu, Northern Region.
There's more news ahead. Don't go away. Welcome back to News Today. The country coordinator of the Youth Economic Dialogue, Nanaya Oduchum, has called on SMEs and MSMEs to take advantage of the numerous initiatives by governments such as SDF, COTVET and MASLOC to help them grow, while asking managers of such programs to make them visible to these businesses. He asked those in the sector to make judicious use of these initiatives when they are granted access.
The relief items are meant for victims, but according to the Eastern Regional Minister, all households that have been affected will soon be provided with cement and roofing sheets to reconstruct the houses.
The challenge to the SMEs and the micro businesses is that they have to set up their base for them to be attractive to these institutions. What I mean by that is, if you don't have the capacity to develop, for example, have a well-structured bookkeeping system, accounting system, whereby you can go to a financial institution and show that you have credibility to pay when you are granted a facility, you can hire a consultant. And there are a lot of consultants who don't charge much at that level. So what one they have to do is to structure their business in such a way that funds or financial institutions can support them. Where we don't have the skills or the managers to do that, we can fall on a lot of, for example, BUSAC is one of the institutions that is doing it for most SMEs for free. You can even fall on the ministries. They have the National Board for Small Scale Industries through their Rural Enterprises Project, for example. They are also offering such assistance for free or at very low cost. And there are private consultants around who can also help.
Now, we have all these initiatives, COTVET, SDF, MASLOC. They are all there to support SMEs, MSMEs. Is this something that all these developments are not doing? Because a lot of those in the sector are not aware of some of these initiatives.
I think this is politics and mistrust in our political environment. Most of our people, the businessmen and women, perceive this institution or this project as belonging to a political set, which shouldn't be the case. So the managers of these projects should make conscious effort to have a transparent system of granting opportunity and benefit to all business sectors.
We have talked about the avenues available. What should those in the sector be doing? Is there anything they are currently not doing going forward? What should they be doing to even develop themselves?
Well, two things. The application of the funds they receive, because there are a lot of projects that didn't achieve their target because beneficiaries did not apply the funds or grants they were given to the project that they said they were going to use the money for. So they have to watch it. And in this context, it's very important for the management of the fund to ensure execution, the proper efficiency in execution. That's very important.
China's central bank has injected fresh liquidity into the country's large commercial banks ahead of the Lunar New Year holiday later this month. The bank did not say how much cash it injected, but said the move was aimed at ensuring the stability of the monetary market ahead of the holidays. The Lunar New Year is China's most important festival and sees increased demand for cash among consumers. The move also comes as China's key interbank lending rate rose on Monday. A 7-day repurchase rate, a key gauge of liquidity among banks, rose to nearly 6.5% on Monday, up from 4% earlier this month. The People's Bank of China said it had injected the funds via short-term liquidity operations. General Electric's aircraft leasing and financing arm has confirmed that it has placed an order for 40 Boeing planes worth $4 billion, about £2.3 billion at less prices. The order includes 20 737 MAX 8 planes and 20 next-generation 737-800 jets. The order was booked last year, but so far had been attributed to unidentified customer by Boeing. GE Capital Aviation Services said the new planes would help it meet growing demand for more fuel-efficient aircraft from its customers. The International Monetary Fund has resolved to immediately disburse about $20 million in suspended funding to Malawi. The IMF imposed the suspension last October pending investigations of a scandal in which millions of dollars in public funds were looted from government coffers. The decision to release the funds was made by the IMF at a meeting in Washington on Friday after an extended review of Malawi's finances. IMF Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair Nayuki Shinohara said the funds were released because Malawi's macroeconomic performance under the IMF-supported program has remained broadly satisfactory. KPMG is being investigated over its handling of troubled cooperative banks' accounts. The Financial Reporting Council will look into the preparation, approval and audit of the co-op bank's finances up to the end of 2012. KPMG urges that regulatory scrutiny is understandable. The accountancy group said it would cooperate fully. The co-op bank is struggling financially and is also suffering from a scandal involving its former chairman, Paul Flowers. Flowers, a Methodist minister with little experience in banking, joined the co-op board in 2009 as a non-executive director. There's more ahead. I'll be right back. You're welcome back. Time now for sports news. And Sports Minister Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah has revealed exclusively to Joy Sports government will be unable to send large numbers of supporters to the World Cup in Brazil due to high cost implications.
In this instance, the consultant in one more stage is to have the stakeholders meeting, which I've said that this quarter it must happen. We bring the stakeholders together, look at all the issues, then we package it, send it to cabinet, it goes to cabinet, cabinet approves it, then it goes to parliament. Then parliament will look at it, and then it will be passed. So it is a priority for us this year that we're going to have the sports law passed. us this year. The sports law, the youth bill, those are priorities for us this year. On the 23rd of December, we held a stakeholders meeting at the conference center where we brought on board a number of government institutions and all the various stakeholders to begin planning for the Brazil 2014. And this issue has come up. There are various committees that are looking at various scenarios, and I wouldn't want to preempt what they'll finally come out with. But the reality is that, yes, you definitely need some core of supporters to go, because we cannot leave the players alone.
West Brom's Nicholas Anelka faces a minimum 5-match ban if found guilty by the Football Association of making the controversial Kinyol gesture. The striker made the sign described as an inverted Nazi salute after scoring against West Ham on 28 December. West Brom sponsor Zoopla will end its agreement with the club at the end of the season because of the incident. Anelka, who started Monday's draw with Everton, has until 1800 GMT on 23rd January to respond to the charge. The new interim president of the Central African Republic says the most important thing to do to bring peace to her country is to calm down. Catherine Samba Panza said she thinks having a woman leader for the CAR will help calm down those who have hatred in their hearts. Samba Panza is the country's first female president and the mayor of the capital, Bangui. She was chosen Monday by a transitional national council to lead the country out of months of chaos and Muslim-Christian violence. The instability has driven more than 900,000 people from their homes. Meanwhile, the European Union has agreed to send hundreds of troops to help stabilize the conflict-torn Central African Republic. Donors also pledged almost $500 million in assistance for CAR, where lawmakers have just elected a new interim president. Elbrad Ibrahim is an international news analyst. He's joined me over the telephone. Look at the situation of the CAR. Hello, Elbrad.
Hello, Kimini. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too. Catherine Samba Panza is chosen as president. She thinks that her position or her status as a woman actually will help the situation. Did we finally find a solution to all of the problems of the CAR?
I think Kimini, she faces a daunting task of bringing together a country whose very existence has been badly battered and fractured by religious intolerance. But we wait to see what is happening. But the heinous acts that are being perpetrated currently are being done by the youth. It's sad that the youth are so gullible and credulous enough to be used as cannon fodder to satisfy the political aspirations of others. Young men wielding machetes are hacking people to death and setting their corpses on fire in the boulevards and alleyways of Bongi. Kemina, I think at this juncture, the international community's priority should be stemming the tide of religious violence in the country. The hurried transition of power without a proper security and contingency plan may prove costly to minority groups in the CAR. The country is now teetering on the brink of genocide. So I think President Catherine's call for absolute calm is in the right direction. But Kemini, everyone knows that in a post-conflict era, disarmament, rehabilitation, and reintegration always prove elusive without a robust move by the international community. The 1,600 or so French troops stationed in the country are now stretched thin, and there is an urgent need for many more peacekeepers to stop the carnage and religious cleansing that is taking place as we talk right now.
How important is the sending of more troops to the CAR at the moment?
It is, because the country is sparsely populated and it covers a very wide geographical area. And therefore, it's understandable that the 1,600 French troops, coupled with the 4,000 African forces in the country, cannot find themselves in every nook and cranny of the country. And people are using crude weapons to hack fellow human beings to death. It doesn't bode well for stability and security in the country. And therefore, I think something needs to be done fast, Kimeni. I think we were in a rush. Pretoria has left. It's a good thing that a dictator has left, someone who didn't become president through a legitimate means. But at least something should have been done in preparation for such an eventuality.
I see. Catherine, as president now, what will be her single most important first step she should take?
I'm happy she's a woman, and I'm sure that the feminine tenderness can do better than testosterone-filled masculinity in such a situation. So I think she just has to speak to her people. She's a Christian, and those who are being victimized now are Muslims. Kemeni have said this time and again that we have a disenchanted group right now. The Muslim minority feels disenfranchised. And therefore, we can even the playing field by giving a prime ministerial position to a Muslim so that we can calm nerves. Today, the Christians have the upper hand. Who knows what will happen tomorrow?
I see. Let's talk about Syria for a minute and Iran's involvement in solving the conflict or resolving the situation in Syria. At the moment, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said the UN Chief Ban Ki-moon's decision to buy Iran from Wednesday's opening session of Syrian peace talks is a mistake. What are your own thoughts?
I think Ban Ki-moon, I don't know, I think the United States is the country that is controlling the UN. About 48 hours ago, that announcement came from the quarters of the United Nations. And when the Americans said they were averse to any Iranian involvement in the talks, immediately they rescinded the decision to have Iran on board. Kemeni, thinking that there will be peaceful lull in Syria after the meeting in Geneva tomorrow will be a wild goose chase. The ongoing internecine turf battles raging between rebel groups have given Assad's forces the leeway to dig in and consolidate their grounds in large swathes of the north and the middle belt of the country. So I'm very sure that Assad's delegates will fly to Geneva tomorrow with two staunch directives from him. Briefly, one, he will not share power with the opposition. That is a directive I'm sure they will have up their sleeves as they cruise into Geneva tomorrow. And then secondly, he will not relinquish his post as president. So, Kemeni, the conference, I think, will be a fruitless latter-day talk show after looking on for almost 3 years as the country sank into the abyss of a full-blown civil war.
But Tehran seems to come up often when it has to do with talking Assad out of all of this. What critical role can Tehran play in this?
Kemeni, you see, in the Middle East, there are three races of people. The Arabs make up the majority, and the Jews are in the Zionist state of Israel. The only Arab country that has the backing of the Persians, the Iranians are Persians, they are not Arabs, is Syria. And therefore, it is in the larger interest of Iran to have Syria in position, because when Iran supplies weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon, they use Syrian territory as a conduit for that. So losing Syria will be a deadly blow to their support of the paramilitary force called Hezbollah in Lebanon. That is why Iran will go to every length to make sure that Assad remains in power. So getting Iran to ease Assad out of power will be helpful, because the Iranians will continue to supply him with weapons, even if the rest of the Arab world turns their back against him. And therefore, Iran coming around in the talks will be helpful. But the Americans wouldn't want to, cow to the political ambitions of the Iranians in the region. But in recent months, we've seen a puzzling up of relations between Iran and the West. So we wait to see what happens tomorrow. Perhaps in the long term, Iran's involvement will be needed in seeking a long-term solution to the problem.
Given Wednesday's meeting may be fruitless, what can we do to reverse the situation?
Chimeni, we missed the boat quite so early in the conflict. I have said this over and over again. There can't be a half-hearted approach to the resolution of the conflict in Syria. You either drink deep or you do not taste at all. There can be only two parts out of the current quagmire. It's either we support Assad, stabilize his country by defeating the rebels, or help the rebels wholeheartedly to topple Assad. There is no gray area. There is no middle path between these two diametrically opposite options we have on our table.
Ilbrad Ibrahim is an international news analyst. We've been talking to CAR and Syria, both countries conflict torn. Move on to South Sudan, another conflict torn area. And a senior UN human rights official says thousands of people have been killed in the violence in South Sudan, and some of the worst human rights violations may constitute war crimes and crimes against humanity. Assistant Secretary General for Human Rights Ivan Simonovic visited the troubled nation last week. He said the situation is quite grim, and he recited a long list of abuses, including killings, summary executions, sexual violence, burning, looting, and the use of child soldiers. Simonovic said his initial report may not be able to identify alleged perpetrators, that may take more time. He also noted that the African Union has suggested a commission of inquiry be established to investigate abuses and address the root causes of the conflict. The daughter of Nelson Mandela, Makaziwe Mandela, has paid tribute to BBC presenter Kamla Juma, who died suddenly on Saturday at the age of 41. Makaziwe Mandela, who Juma interviewed after her father's death, described him as a shining star of Africa. She spoke to BBC's Focus on Africa program Monday.
There was a lot of shock and sadness amongst us because, I mean, as you say, here was truly a shining star of Africa who came into our lounges, our bedrooms, you know, every day at 7:30 South African time, Focus on Africa, and sometimes on other channels. But as you say, a beacon of Africa's warmth and shine. Kumla was Africa in every essence.
When you met him, it was at a difficult time when you had just lost your father. But he described to me how he felt like he was part of the family when he came to offer condolence to your family.
He came into my house and called me Mommy, you know, which is really an endearing way in which West Africans call elder people, and I was just comfortable with it. And we chit-chatted about just about everything else. I was very comfortable, and that's the type of person, of professional journalist that he was. You know, as I said, there are those people who have you call it charisma. You know, in Xhosa City, we say mkita. Some, you know, who have just that presence with them, that make you happy, that make you, even if you are sad, give you that warm feeling inside. And Kumla, for me, even when I was in my saddest moment, I just felt confident.
What is it about him that made him so special?
What makes these people who have this presence, for lack of a better word, I don't know what makes them have the presence that they have. I mean, he was, I always said to my husband, he was a suave dresser, you know, with his impeccable suits. Not that, I mean, I think most of the BBC journalists, especially the men, are very suave dressers, you know, with his ties and what do you call it, handkerchief. I mean, he was always well put together, even if when he was in the field with casual clothing, the presence, the tallness, the way that he carried himself, he had this glow on his face all the time. And yeah, like welcoming into your home somebody that you've known for a long time.
That'll be all for international news. I'll be back with some entertainment news. Ace broadcast journalist Komla Dumo knew how to let his hair down, even though he didn't have any hair. But he was a great lover of music, particularly hip-hop and classical music. The late rapper Tupac Shakur was one of his favorite hip-hop artists. Fellow Ghanaian colleague at the BBC, Akwesi Sapon, paid a special tribute to Komla by reading the words of Tupac, "Smile for Me." Let's take a listen.
But through whatever you see, through all the rain and the pain, you gotta keep your sense of humor. You gotta be able to smile through all this bullshit. Remember that.
The words say there are going to be some stuff that you will see, and they will make it difficult for you to smile in the future. But whatever you see, through all the rain and pain, you have to keep a sense of humor. You have to be able to smile through all of life's trials. Remember that. Just keep your head up. Why shed tears? Save your sympathy. My childhood years were spent dreaming my dreams.
By two Kenyan Maasai warriors who watched the BBC, they've decided to give me a traditional name. How did you pick a name for me?
We picked the name because we name people according to the personalities, and we name them according to mountain, rivers, animals.
So what have you chosen for me?
We chose the name for you, Tobiko, which means a mountain.
Because I
live along the line.
And I'm a mountain of a man.
I think you're a mountain of a man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the process requires a bit of a ceremony, which I won't show to you. It's top secret.
Here's a message to the newborns and all the young ones. If you believe you can achieve, just look at me. Against all odds, though life is hard, we carry on, living our life through all its imperfections. To all my people, protect your essence. Born with less, but you're still precious. Just smile for me now.
Just smile for me now.
And on Tuesday, full coverage from the palace to the church to the streets of Amsterdam. Well, folks, that is all from the program. From me, Komla Dumont, from Peter, and the heat, the rest of the team.
Just smile for me now. Just smile for me now. Smile. Look at all Sam. Nigga, you black. Smile for me now.
Well, you heard from the boss player, no hair, don't care, but he always knew how to smile, and will probably smile and celebrate his 41 years he spent with us instead. A recap of our headlines. Teacher trainees at the Bagabaga College of Education and the Tamale College of Education appealed to government to find solution to the strike by their teachers. Meanwhile, SETAC refuses to return to the classroom. More news on myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for staying through the hour. My name is Kemini Nyamani, and this has been News Today. Goodbye.